Shalom, shalom, all praises be unto Yahweh, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakadash. I want to say elders and apostles of great most and well. Shalom to the hopeful elect worldwide, man. Shalom. Just a post. It was been gone out on YouTube, and it reads: people no longer believe working hard will lead to a better life. Yeah, so that spirit of that American dream is died off, and it's spread out throughout the world, especially in the West, the UK too. Also, yeah, yeah. You hear all the time: the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. It's like a complete, big, gigantic economic gap. All right. Yeah, there's so much greed and corruption uh, in the society we live in under Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, who's made it hard for everybody, including his own people. Yeah, he's a terrible king. He's a terrible ruler. Yeah, and that's why, and the Lord's very soon going to replace him, man. But anyways, if people no longer believe working hard will lead to a better life. Yeah, let me get some scriptures. Yeah, so people are in a state of mourning and depression, man, and frustration. Look what the scripture says, Proverbs 29:2. At the top it says warnings and instructions. Okay. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So we definitely know that people are not rejoicing. Why? Because the rulers that are in authority are not righteous. Yeah. Okay. Now, righteousness comes from what? Doing the right things according to Yahweh Bashmishai, following the law, statute, and commandments. You know, and the righteous seed, the saints, are who? The people of the Most High, which are the true Israelites, starting with the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Hispanics, and those are scattered. In particular, the elect, first and foremost. Okay, so at the moment, heathens are ruling, and guess what? Yeah, they're ruling in unrighteousness, in wickedness, and corruption, and greed. Okay, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So when the right people are in rulership, people are going to live at peace and harmony. Yeah? They're not going to be having complaints and frustration and uproars and marches consistently almost every month, you know, as this society does. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Are people mourning? Are people depressed? Are people frustrated? Of course. Why? As again, the wicked are bearing rule. We live in a corrupt society full of corrupt leaders. Okay? And look at this. Verse 7, it says, the righteous considereth the cause of the poor. And many people in this society are poor, man. In particular, we know us, the Israelites, because we're the lowest in society, as it's prophesied, and we're under the curses of Deuteronomy 28. But guess what? A lot of people, other people as well, are poor because you got greedy, selfish, wicked, corrupt, super wealthy elites, man, that are squeezing the life out of the poor, yeah? Causing everyone to work extremely hard and to regain extremely little. Yeah? That's imbalance. Yeah? It's a false balance. But righteous considereth the cause of the poor. Yeah. So uh, the, the 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 people with a just spirit and compassion, yeah, they're gonna they're gonna sort out to fix any problems that the poor is facing, or any injustice and corruption. Yeah, but guess what? But the wicked regardeth not to know it. Yeah, and who's the wicked? Starting with these super rich, wealthy elites, man. They It says the wicked regardeth not to know it, meaning what? They don't give they don't give two F's about how the poor feel. Yeah. How many years, how many decades has there been extreme poverty around the world? And these so-called philanthropists, you know, fundraisers have not solved, you know, things of the humanitarian scene. Why have we still got so many poor people in Africa and there's so many AIDS going on? Yeah, come on, man, because you know it's corrupt and greed that's involved. Okay, the wicked regardeth not to know it. They don't give a damn about the poor, the people below. That's why society is corrupt and needs to be vanquished, man. Okay. Verse 12, if a ruler hearken to lies, yeah, all his servants are wicked. Yeah, it's a lie that if you work hard, you will be rewarded, man. No, it's about the people you know, and also the higher you go in society, the ladder that you climb, the wickeder it gets. It gets cutthroat, it gets more demonic, you know, secret societies, and obviously there's levels to it. Okay. And you have to obey the agenda of the elites, man. You can't be uh, righteous and rich in this society. Hell no. Yeah? If you're a whistleblower, if you're aiming to be righteous and rich by way of the scriptures, you know, you speak against the falsehoods and ideologies of the agendas of the elites, you're going to be X'd out, man. Censored, X'd out, and it's going to cost, you know, your life. Okay. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. So the followers of Esau's kingdom, they're wicked servants, man, because they hearken to lies. Okay? That's why this wicked world is full of scandals. People getting given hush money, you know, blackmailing, bribery, you know, paying off judges and lawyers, yeah, to sweep things under the rug. Mm? People are committing international war crimes but not being penalized. Yeah, we live in a dirty, corruptible world, man. Fraud, money laundering, all, you know, trafficking and stuff like that. Anything you can think of that's wicked. That's what goes on in in the uh, behind the curtains of this circus, so to speak. Okay. Jump to verse 16. It says, "When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth." Okay. And who's the wicked? We know Esau, Edom, according to scripture, is known as the border of wickedness. Man. Okay. And transgression, wickedness is increasing. The longer he stays in power, the more imagination he's going to have to increase wickedness, man. He's evil. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is evil. But the righteous shall see their fall. Yeah, so Lord willing, we be the hopeful elect, the hopeful prophets, and we're going to see the downfall of Esau's kingdom as it's prophesied. Okay. Now look at this. This is the ordinance of the people. This is a custom for our people, the Hebrew Israelites. But guess what? When we're in power, Isaiah chapter 2, this is going to be established anyway across the planet. Exodus 20 and verse 2, it says, "If I'll buy in Hebrew servant," which just means employment, yeah, because what working is a custom for everybody. Everyone's supposed to work to earn your money, so earn your living and stuff like that. "If I'll buy in Hebrew servant, 6 years shall he serve." Yeah, so he's 6 years shall he serve, and in the seventh he shall go out free for nothing. So yeah, so we have an employment system where you're working for 6 years, and on the seventh year, you should be well established on your own. And now you can, since you're well established on your own by through employment as an employee working, you've earned enough money, man. All right, and you can start working when you're of age of like adolescence, man. When you're transitioning to adulthood, which is around the age of 12. Okay, that's really when you're a man at the age of 12. Yeah, but obviously in Western society, they is Western society trains us to dumb us down, and it extends the age when it's actually supposed to be younger, man. Okay, when you go to other cultures and other countries, let's say for example, in the Middle East, Arabs and stuff like that, you got 12, 14-year olds, young men and young women. You know, they may be getting married at that age, which is that's biblical anyway. It's ancient and biblical. But what I'm trying to say is that those young men and young ladies, they're more mature than so-called grown-ups here of the West, and they could be on their 30s. Yeah? A lot of people of the West, they could be 18 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus, and they still got a mind of a kid. Yeah, don't know anything, about responsibility, growing up, changing bad habits. Okay, in the West, we got obesity problem that starts from young. Mm. In the West, we got a baby mama problem. Multiple kids with multiple different men. You see, these problems start from young. People are not maturing. Okay. Anyways, okay. So that was our custom, man. But guess what? Here, let's say for the UK, you work until you're past well off your 60s. I believe they increased the law, I think, up to the 70s now. I need to double check that. But up to the 60s, then you can retire. Or, America, what, 401k. Here in the UK, we got pension. So wait, so you're supposed to be established. No, when you're at the almost the age of the average mortality rate, that's ridiculous. When you're about to drop dead, your bones are aching. Yeah, no. In the scriptures, you're supposed to enjoy life when you're young, but in order. Okay, so around the age of 19, 20, according to scriptures, that's when you're supposed to be starting, owning assets. You see, as a young man, owning things, experiencing things. You know, so really, what's the word? Regress. We've gone backwards. Yeah, because Esau society like to say, "Oh, we are progressive society." No, we're not progressive. We're becoming dumber and weaker. Okay. Um, this is Revelation 6 and verse 5. It says, the third seal, famine. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast saying, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." What is this talking about? This is talking about famine, or more specifically, inflation, man. Yeah, the economy is facing disaster. In other words, let me get it. Because my pause button's at the same place there. Okay, let's see now. Same chapter. We go straight to verse 6. And I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, "A loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay." And let's say a day's pay is about £100, 8 hour shift, £12.50 or something like that. So you're gonna have to pay 12. You're gonna have to pay your whole day's wage. That 8 hour shift, 8 hour, 10 hours, 12 hour shift, just for a loaf of bread, man. And it's gonna get terrible out here. And don't waste for olive oil and wine. Okay. So Deuteronomy 7. Well, let me read it in NLT. This Deuteronomy 17, verse 14. It says, this is the guideline for a king, so a ruler. This is how you're supposed to operate. Yeah? And these wicked, rich, corrupt elites, yeah, they're the rulers of the earth, but they're ruling in wickedness, man, and greed. Look at this. You are about to enter the land the Lord your God is giving you. This is NLT. When you take it over and settle there, you may think we should select a king to rule over us like the other nations around us. If this happens, be sure to select the king, the Lord, the Lord your God chooses. Yeah. So even that, when someone's elected, because you know you got elections and democracy and stuff like that, it's actually supposed to be sanctioned through the Spirit, man. Okay. Just like King David. King David was chosen through the Spirit. Moses was chosen through the Spirit. Okay. Anyways, you must appoint a fellow Israelite. So see, he's us. He's got to be of our race, our nation. He may not be a foreigner. The king must not build up a large stable of horses for himself. Yeah, look at that. A king must not build up a large stable of horses for himself. What is that talking about? Greed and hoarding. This is what these super rich do. Yeah, they, you know, a small percentage of people want to control majority or if not all the wealth and keep people in a position of slavery. Yeah, where people can't improve, people can't break the glass ceiling, people can't own. Okay, they want to own everything, and so that the other people, the common people, don't own nothing. Well, they said it. Okay, was it Klaus Schwab's? From the West, even though he stepped down, what did he say? You will own nothing and be happy. That is a wicked statement. Go and tell someone in the street, hey, how do you feel about you're gonna own nothing? Like you would never be able to own a car, you'll be never able to own a house, you'll never be able to own your children and family, you'll never be able to own a business. Yeah. What do you think the response of a common person will say? They'll say, hell no, what kind of wickedness is that? Well, guess what? That's your super elites for you. And they said it right. They said it right on TV, and there's no outcry. There's no people are not saying off with his, with his headpiece. People are not shouting and screaming for him to be imprisoned. Okay. But anyways, the king must not build up a large stable of horses for himself, greed, or send his people to Egypt to buy horses. Yeah. For the Lord has told you, you must never return to Egypt. The king must not take many wives for himself, because they will turn his heart away from the Lord. And he must not accumulate large amounts of wealth in silver and in gold for himself. Look at these key words, himself. Yeah. It's got to be carefully and proportionally distributed, because people need to earn. People need to own too. Okay. When he sits on the throne as king, he must copy for himself this body of instruction on a scroll in the presence of a Levitical priest. He must always keep that copy with him and read it daily as long as he lives. Look at that. So, as a king, as a ruler, as a prime minister or president, yeah, you're supposed to be consistently being reminded of the law of how to operate righteously and in order, yeah, and how to please the Lord's people. Hmm? You see that 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 way he will learn to fear the Lord, his God, by obeying all the terms of his instructions and decrees. This regular reading will prevent him from becoming proud and acting as if he is above his fellow citizens. This is beautiful. NLT version. Let me read it again. The regular reading will prevent him from becoming proud and acting as if he is above his fellow citizens. You see that? You see how a king operates? King David, even though he was the man, he was the king, even he was still willing to go out and fight with his people in battle. You see that? And he was the top don. Moses, he was second in command, top don, right? Under Pharaoh, you know. And guess what? When he saw his Hebrew servant slaves being abused by the Egyptians, he had compassion. Yeah. These demons, these wicked elite Edomite so-called white people that are in power, they don't have compassion of the poor, of people. I just read it in Proverbs 29. Yeah? The righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. They don't give a damn. So this is what the world is experiencing. You see, people like to shit on the Bible. People like to curse out the scriptures and say the Bible is outdated. But guess what? All the problems on the earth is because you don't listen to the Bible. You see, the holy scriptures of Yahweh by Shimei Shai, yeah, who are so-called black according to the scriptures. So yeah, they the scriptures is a guideline of how to live, man. Let me read verse 20 again because this is beautiful. I didn't even read this in NLT. You know, this regular reading will prevent him from becoming proud and acting as if he is above his fellow citizens. It will also prevent him from turning away from these commands in the smallest way, and it will ensure that he and his descendants will reign for many generations in Israel. So guess what? The Lord wants your genealogy and descendants to be blessed up too, but you got to do it the right way in righteousness. Yeah? You got to look after the people, and you got to fear Yahweh by Shemashai, Shemkakadash. And these wicked elites don't fear the Lord, and they don't care and regard the people. That's why they're evil. But guess what? Isaiah chapter 2 is coming soon, and the Lord is going to change the position, yeah, to these elites to be at the bottom, which is their rightful place. See, Isaiah 2 is coming to effect. Psalm 75 and 5 is coming to effect again. But anyways, with that, all praises be to Yahweh, by Hashem Yashai, B'Shem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great Most and Ruel. Shalom.